On my wedding day, the media was buzzing about a fairy tale where a girl from the slums marries into a wealthy family. The wedding photo was still hung by the bed when my new husband, John, loosened his tie and sneered, "The show's over." I was crying, begging him not to divorce me. "I took that bullet to save you." He tossed the wedding ring into his drink. "Ridiculous. If it weren't for you using goodwill to trap me, why would I have married?" Later, at his wedding with the true love of his life, the screen went black, showing recordings of his infidelity and family scandals. I waved the remote with a smile. "Like this special gift? Today is my wedding day with John." In front of all the media, he gently smiled, knelt on one knee, and held my hand. "You saved me, and I'll treat you well for the rest of my life." My eyes turned red. My heart pounded like never before. I'd never been cherished like this, making me truly believe I was loved. I smiled and said, "I do." And he hugged me tightly, kissing me. After the wedding feast, as the door to the luxurious car closed, John's warmth vanished in an instant. "The show's over." He loosened his tie, giving me a cold, dismissive look. Before I could react, he grabbed my chin, causing painful furrows on my brow. "Behave from now on, and don't think you're really my wife." My heart clenched. "What do you mean?" John laughed coldly, lightly tapping my cheek, like teasing a pet. "If you hadn't shown up then, why would I marry an orphan?" Frozen, I was sent to a secluded villa. I looked around. The room was empty, no roses, no candles, not even a sign of joy. "Your room's on the 3rd floor. The butler handed me a disinfectant wipe. "Wipe your hands first." After coming out of the bathroom, I was surprised to see John leaning against my door. Before I could call out, he pinned me against the window by the throat. Outside, the giant screen looped our wedding news. "Look closely." John tied my wrists with his tie. "Those blessings are for my family, not for some girl from a welfare home." He suddenly yanked at my collar. "This scar came in handy. My dad eats up this gratitude stuff." John threw the wedding ring into his glass. "Put it on. We have a charity auction the day after tomorrow, and both of us need to attend." Tonight, the media awaited coverage of a slum girl marrying into wealth. With trembling hands, I accidentally opened a video. Recently, John, the only son of the Whites group, was kidnapped, and a welfare orphan took a bullet to save him, sealing a heroic love story. In the front page photo, a pale me lay in John's arms, my clothes soaked with blood from my chest. The next picture showed me waking in the hospital, staring dazedly at the camera. The video went on. The Whites group announced the start of a child rescue fund, naming Clara as a figurehead. I recalled the day of the press conference, just after I was discharged. John's father, Mike, smiled as he pushed John toward me. The kids hit it off right away, so we decided John would marry Clara. The shutter clicks drowned out his last words. John offered his hand, smiling. "Father says you should rest for a while. Our wedding will be in 6 months." Early the next morning, John and I got into the car to go home. He frowned, rolling down the window. "Why the sour face on our first day? Cheer up when we get out." But Mike noticed a bruise on my collarbone and motioned to John, chatting with his mother. "Boy, don't you know to appreciate beauty? Come to my study." His mother, Wendy, gently took my hand. "Clara, let's talk mother to daughter." Wendy picked up a book and started reading. I stood by her, occasionally refilling her tea. When my legs were numb from standing, she finally set the book down. "Lunchtime already, girl. Why didn't you remind me?" I thought she was just engrossed in reading and smiled sweetly. "I didn't want to disturb you while you were enjoying your book." That afternoon, Mike left for work, and under the butler's guidance, I softly pulled out a chair for lunch. "Ma'am, your napkin." The maid, Molly, handed me a linen napkin, but let go just before placing it on my lap, as a fork clattered to the marble floor with a sharp noise. Embarrassed, I bent to pick it up. "I didn't mean to." Wendy sipped her tea elegantly. "Clara, hold your utensils this way." She demonstrated slowly. The welfare home didn't teach dining etiquette? I instinctively glanced at John, but he was absorbed in his financial newspaper, not even sparing me a glance. He suddenly scoffed. "Even dogs know not to drop tableware on the floor." "John," Wendy tapped her spoon against her cup lightly. "Don't be so harsh. Clara's trying her best." She offered the hand wash bowl. "Here, wash up first. This water is this morning's snow melt, quite different from the tap water you're used to." In the afternoon, John took Wendy and me to a tea party. Wendy affectionately sat me down. "Clara, join in. They're discussing study abroad experiences." One lady eyed me amused. Where did you attend college, Clara? Awkwardly, I replied. After waking up in the hospital, I found I missed the year's graduation and was now a year behind. I'm at a local college, but I haven't graduated yet. Wendy sighed. Oh, this kid has had a tough life. It's our John who delayed her, causing her to graduate a year late. Another woman sipped her tea. Growing up in an orphanage and making it to college is already an achievement. Wendy patted my hand and announced to everyone, my daughter-in-law may come from a humble background, but she's very sensible. The women deliberately switched to English. With a gentle tone, Wendy encouraged me, Clara, go pour some tea for everyone. Obediently, I took the teapot from a server's tray, but didn't expect it to be scorching hot. My grip slipped, and the tea spilled all over the floor. Can't you even pour tea? Wendy frowned. Noticing the commotion, I saw John smirk helplessly. What can I do? I love her. On the way home, John coldly eyed my blistered hand. Don't embarrass me. I tuned out his cold words, wanting to retreat to my room, but he grabbed me tightly. His rough handling almost took my breath away. For a moment he looked in pain, blurting out, Lily. My heart sank. Who's Lily? I was taken into John's private styling room, surrounded by expensive dresses and jewelry. John lounged on the sofa, flipping through a magazine. Without looking up, he said, dye your hair blonde. I was stunned. I don't like that color. John glanced up, his gaze icy. Do you think I care about what you like? The stylist nervously picked up the dye. I sat in front of the mirror, watching my black hair slowly turn blonde. The dye burned my scalp. I bit my lip to suppress the pain, staying silent. Once dressed, John scrutinized me critically. The dress is too conservative. I looked at my white gown, defending, I think it looks nice. John suddenly scowled. Some clothes aren't meant for just anyone. I lowered my gaze, hiding my disappointment, letting Wendy casually pick out another dress for me. At the Whites Group's charity gala, I attended with John to make a speech. Lacking the energy, I just wanted to get through the media and find a quiet corner to rest. Suddenly, the banquet hall doors opened. A slender figure walked in. I had seen her before in John's phone gallery. He said she was a family friend's daughter and grew up with him. John's buddies came to greet her. Lily, why are you back so soon? Guests whispered, who is that? She looks like Clara. You don't know her? She's Lily from the Brown family. Lily, in a champagne gown with soft curls, approached with a sweet smile. John, I came back early to surprise you guys, but you must still come to my welcome back party. So she was Lily. I bowed my head, fingers clutching the hem of the dress Wendy chose for me. Lily cozied up to John and asked, brother, aren't you going to introduce us? John glanced at our matching champagne dresses, frowning as he introduced me. This is my wife, Clara. I tightened my grip on my dress as John released my hand, wrapping an arm around Lily's waist. He whispered, shall we leave early tonight? I stood there as if I'd been slapped in public. The guest's eyes darted between Lily and me, whispering, no wonder he suddenly fancied this orphan. She's a stand-in for the real thing. John and Lily left without sparing me a glance. I stood in the crowd, cold all over. My blonde hair, dress, and makeup weren't even my own. As the guests left, I drifted outside until a car stopped in front of me. The passenger window rolled down to reveal Lily's bold, teasing smile. Sis, join my welcome back party tonight, okay? John was in the driver's seat, his tone cold. Lily insists on inviting you. Get in. Obediently, I got in the car. Up front, they laughed and chatted, with Lily occasionally asking me things I couldn't respond to. Her sweetness was blatant, but her stings were subtle. I had no idea where they were going when Lily suddenly asked, John, why are we at the beach? John took Lily to the observation deck, and I followed. I saw John whisper something to Lily. She gasped, and with a bang the surroundings lit up. In the booming noise near deafness, I remembered a night 6 months ago. I'd just woken up, and wasn't familiar with being his girlfriend yet. John had snuck me out of the hospital to watch the city's festival fireworks at the beach. You said you didn't feel like my girlfriend, so let me officially ask you again. John got on one knee, holding my hand. Clara, I love you. Will you marry me? Under the night sky, through tears, I barely saw his face. In a moment of shadow and light, I hugged him tightly, choking out, I will. The next day, I saw news of the rich heir proposing to an ordinary girl, and hid my face in John's chest in embarrassment. How'd they capture it? We sneaked out, I said. John patted my head, voice deep. Yeah, how'd they know? Back then, love clouded my world. Now, watching their happy moments, I was suffocating with sorrow. I stumbled along with them to a karaoke room. Cease, cease. It was Lily calling me back to reality. I realized I'd downed several drinks, smiled at her. You guys keep playing. I'll just visit the restroom. In the washroom, I stared at my reflection, tears unconsciously spilling from my reddened eyes. John, how did you end up like this? I took a moment to gather myself before heading back to the room. Just as I reached the door, I heard everyone inside chanting encore. Through the gap in the partially closed door, I saw Lily sitting closely on John's lap, feeding him drink after drink. That sight brought tears to my eyes once again, just when I thought I was done crying. Lily, are you blushing? Ha ha ha. One of their friends teased. Do you have a death wish? I treat you all like brothers. Lily jumped up, playfully pretending to punch the friend. John watched them with a fond expression, and eventually wiped away Lily's sweat when she was panting from exhaustion. I knew you were the best, John. They don't even treat me like a girl. Lily rubbed her forehead sweat onto John's shirt, but he didn't bat an eye, and gently tugged on Lily's ear. I couldn't stand watching this any longer, and left the karaoke room. I wandered aimlessly down an unfamiliar street, when a hand suddenly grabbed my wrist. Confused, I looked up to see John. John, what are you doing here? Instead of answering, he pushed me into the car. John, hold on. Once home, I refused to let him touch me, which only angered him. It was the first time I had stood up to him like this. He whispered in my ear, if you don't act like a loving couple in public again, I'll stop funding the orphanage. I had once visited the orphanage with him. Though I don't remember it well, I immediately knew that the director and kids were my family. The intense pain in bed left deep marks from my nails on John's back. I heard myself ask, were all those things you said about us being in love true? He looked at me, momentarily taken aback by my persistence. I repeated the question several times. Finally, he coldly replied, before that day, I didn't even know you. I let go and watched him leave, smiling with relief. Turns out the proposals, vows, and tenderness from the past months were all a facade. Early the next morning, I used the excuse of buying ingredients to cook lunch for John and went to a large shopping mall. I logged into a legal forum using public Wi-Fi and anonymously posted my situation. I slowly sipped my coffee and waited until nearly noon. Finally, only one person responded. Hello, regarding your situation, here are some suggestions. Confirm the legality of the marriage. If you can prove the marriage was non-consensual, you can apply to have it annulled. Gather evidence secretly. The response included the lawyer's contact info, which I memorized. I deleted all the messages before heading back to the villa. John was surprised by the elaborate meal I prepared. I thought you couldn't cook? I couldn't before, but I learned some recipes from Strict Wendy. John, honey, I know I was wrong. You can be mad at me, but please don't stop the funding. Okay, I said coyly, pouting like I did before the wedding. John, who hadn't seen that side of me in a while, coughed lightly. Good, you know your mistake. I need to go out this afternoon. Join me. I thought he meant something serious, but it turned out to be car racing. John and Lily raced on a mountain road, while I sat in the passenger seat, heart racing with fear. Zooming by, John and Lily floored the gas pedal, and Lily narrowly claimed victory. I stumbled out of the car feeling dizzy. Lily casually hopped out and hugged John. Ha ha ha, John, I won. So what's my prize? I'll take you shopping this afternoon. Buy whatever you want, it's on me. Lily shook with delight, and John, worried she'd fall, held on tighter. It was then that Lily seemed to notice me, fighting nausea on the side. Clara, you know John treats me like a sister, right? She took my hand and winked. Heard you misunderstood something last time. John really just sees me as his sister. I reminded myself not to be upset and forced a smile. Lily, you're so adorable. Of course everyone likes you. There's no misunderstanding here. John came over to hold my hand, looking satisfied with my response. Clara, I knew you were the most understanding. I stopped asking about anything related to Lily, but John visited me less and less. John seemed more confident in my inability to resist, and the number of people monitoring me decreased. I frequently visited cafes to consult that online legal advisor. He was easygoing, patiently answering my questions. He texted, I have a friend who grew up in an orphanage, maybe in the same city as you. I replied, no wonder you're willing to help me out of the blue. He then asked, what orphanage were you at? Was there a boy named Jack? I had lost my memory and couldn't recall people or events from my past. The lawyer said, I'm coming back soon and can help you gather evidence. Is it hard for you to leave? John indeed limited my contact with the orphanage. A lawyer abroad shouldn't have a reason to go out of their way for a deceived orphan bride. But I felt something was off. I cautiously replied, no need, I can manage. Lately, rumors were circulating in elite circles about the once racing, hard-partying son who reappeared on the scene. No longer associated with the orphan girl, but with the wealthy Lily. Mike often vented to me, Clara, can you talk to John? He was never that talented. And now I've pushed him to shape up to take over the company. Yet he's back to his old crowd. I reassured him every time, Dad, John's just young. It's normal for him to be a bit playful. I'll convince him to focus more on work. Over time, it seemed even Mike was losing hope in his son. I spoke softly. John said he'd settle down. I mean, who else would you leave everything to if not him, right? Wendy shot me a nasty look when I said that, and I was clueless why. Mike heard it, and it got him thinking. I knew getting a divorce would be tough. It's hard to gather solid evidence when you're being watched. Just when I was feeling stuck, I got a mysterious text. I can help you with the divorce, but you need to cooperate. I wasn't sure whether to trust it, but I had nothing to lose, so I decided to take the chance. They told me to secretly record stuff and pretend to be sick to get a psychological evaluation, documenting long-term emotional abuse. Also, I needed proof of financial control, like pictures of restricted bank cards and tracking records. The person helped me step by step to gather evidence, and I decided I'd thank them in person once the divorce was final. The hardest part was the medical records. I was worried John would find out if I went to the hospital. Then Lily tagged me on social media with a screenshot of a Twitter post from John. It was a big group photo from a trip. In the middle, Lily was goofing around, kissing John's cheek. I checked John's account and saw nothing new. He had blocked me from seeing it. I realized our relationship might really be ending. I'm not sure if John was just having fun or if he lost control of his emotions, but his latest update didn't block me. It was a video of people dancing around a bonfire on a prairie. In the corner, there was a guy kissing a girl in traditional attire. If only that guy wasn't my husband. The video was deleted after I'd watched it 10 times. Then came a video call from John, which felt like forever since the last one. Clara, we're out on the prairie. Look how lively it is. John showed the dancing crowd, and Lily popped in the frame. Clara, do I look good? Yeah, you look great. John blurted out. I barely recognized the heavily made-up John in traditional clothing. It had been too long. I was oddly delighted and sweetly said, of course, Lily is beautiful. Her kiss must be captivating too. Leaving a bombshell of a remark for John, I hung up and turned my phone off. The next day, I went to the hospital. I'd hit my head before and had amnesia. Lately, I'd get crippling headaches trying to remember stuff. The doctor checked the scans. There's nothing pathologically wrong in your brain. He suggested hypnosis therapy. As I laid back, my consciousness faded. Images started surfacing, fragments of memories. I saw myself at a crash site, hugging my parents, crying. I was sent to an orphanage, silent. I protected a boy from bullies. The scene froze on the back of a small boy walking away, lips moving. I strained to decipher his words, but was startled awake by a sound. I awoke, breathing heavily. The doctor calmed me down, then said, "We found a substance in your brain suppressing memory. We gave you a mild electric shock, and you should recall more over time." Shocked, I asked, was I poisoned? The doctor explained the substance, likely administered through a liquid. I remembered months in the hospital, when Wendy had me drinking milk daily. I stopped once I moved to John's place, because I didn't like milk. I backed up evidence and sent copies to both the anonymous helper and cloud storage, hailing a cab to the hospital. On the bustling street, I saw a familiar-eyed man in a mask. My heart raced. I hurried the driver, but by the time we stopped, he was gone. Later, our driver took me home. I found John drowning sorrows in alcohol. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have married. I could be with Lily. But I saved you. That bullet had your name on it. Tears welled. I cradled my face. John lunged, grabbing my throat. If not for your amnesia, I wouldn't have been forced into marriage. Despite his resentment, his desperate state amused me. I snatched his bottle, took a swig. John, let's divorce. Stunned, he asked, "What did you say?" I replied with watery eyes. I'll tell father and the media I couldn't handle being your wife. I'll keep charity work commitments and soon our issue will fade. Everyone will only remember you and Lily as perfect. John started to agree then switched. No, you can't leave. I bid him farewell crying. That night Lily called me. John's voice was slurred. Clara's not the boss of me. She acts like I need her. One girl chimed, John can have anyone. Women line up for a guy like him. A childhood friend sneered. Just an orphan with no status, only surviving because of John. He smashed the bottle. She thinks she can divorce me? Who does she think she is? Lily soothed John, it's alright. It's just us now. Breathing and rustling sounds ended the video. I didn't hang up the phone on purpose. I calmly recorded all night. The next day, a radiant John showed up holding Lily's hand. Clara, you should know, it's not you asking for a divorce, it's me not wanting you. I covered my mouth, getting choked up. I just want you to be happy. Whatever you decide to do with me doesn't matter. When it was time to sign, John hesitated for a moment. Lily gently whispered to him, John, our union means the union of two families. Your career will flourish, and Dad won't look down on you. I acted until they left, clutching each other. Finally, I couldn't hold it in. I jumped up with the divorce papers. Thank you so much. I'm finally divorced. I couldn't help but call the anonymous person who had been helping me. It's you who guided me and helped me gather evidence so quickly. Congratulations, Miss Clara, you're free. Can I meet you? I really want to thank you in person. This person's reliability gave me a great sense of security. I couldn't help but ask. The anonymous voice chuckled softly, leaving my ears tingling from the sound. I couldn't resist touching my flushed earlobe. I quickly moved out of John's villa, finding a temporary place to rent. A month later, I got an anonymous letter, but I could tell it was from Lily. Holding an invitation, I attended John and Lily's wedding ceremony. Mike looked guilty when he saw me. Sorry, Clara. When I found out that kid was divorcing you in a moment of stupidity, Lily was already pregnant, and there was no turning back. Wendy, always with her sharp tongue, added, Clara left for John's happiness, not because she had to. Uncle, it's fine. As long as John's happy. I replied nonchalantly. I hope none of this would come back to bite me. Lily, in her immaculate white dress, intimately took John's arm and walked over to propose a toast. John, Lily, I wish you happiness. I stood up and downed the wine in one gulp. She playfully said, Clara, thanks for celebrating our engagement. I hope you find someone as wonderful as John soon. I knew John and that girl wouldn't last. A lone girl, how could she compare to a first daughter? Haha, John probably didn't care that much at the time. Once Lily came back, he was all over her, and they got engaged fast. I ignored the surrounding chatter. Thanks for the words. Lily, as loud as ever, leaned closer and said in a voice everyone could hear, John never truly loved you. It was just a game for him. I whispered back, silly. Do you know why I didn't leave after the divorce? John, holding Lily's hand, sincerely said, I do. The screen suddenly went black, playing John's cold voice, marry her? As if she were worthy. She's just a pawn to repay grandfather's kindness. Lily, uneasy all along, suddenly yelled, turn it off. The screen flicked back on, showing Wendy pouring powder into my milk and handing it to me. Then it showed a hospital diagnosis. Miss Clara diagnosed with trauma-induced amnesia from long-term mental stress. The room was in an uproar, with media frantically taking photos. Lily was ghostly pale, trembling beneath her wedding dress. John, what is this? Guests were abuzz. Some were gasping, some whispering, this is brutal. John's eyes snapped up, glaring towards the control booth. I stood in the corner, waving the remote his way. I walked towards the newlyweds in my heels. Congratulations on your wedding, John. I smiled. Did you like my gift? Did you think I'd slink away after the divorce? From the day I decided to divorce, I was ready to fight back. John grabbed my wrist, whispering angrily, Clara, do you think this would ruin me? Security surrounded us, trying to keep the media away, leaving chaos in their wake. I shook off his grip sharply, my voice cutting, ruin you? I'm just showing everyone the truth of the golden boy. I raised my hand. Another recording filled the air. Lily can give me resources. I do like her a bit, so what? She's nothing, just an orphan with no background. John, you lied to me. Lily tore off her veil, screaming. You said you no longer loved her. John's face darkened. He grabbed my arm, let's go. I slapped him hard, the sound echoed. This is for all the humiliation you put me through. I stepped closer, Words piercing. You made me forget, tricked me into marrying, and tried to silence me forever. Too bad, John, I remembered everything. John's eyes narrowed. What did you remember? I sneered. I remembered, back then in the warehouse. I didn't save you willingly. You pulled me in front of you to take a bullet, out of cowardice. Finally, John couldn't hold back. He swung at me. The doors burst open. A man in a black suit strode in, followed by lawyers and cops, exuding a fierce aura. John, did you ask me before holding her? The moment that man shielded me, I was stunned to see he looked slightly like John. Who are you? John and I asked in unison. I had arranged with the anonymous person to bring the police. Yet this guy's appearance took me by surprise. At the same time, Mike popped over from dealing with the media, blurting, Jack, what are you doing back at this time? John only reacted then, his eyes narrowed. You're Jack? Did you return just to meddle in my affairs? Jack smiled. No, I'm here to take her away. The police presented a warrant, Mr. John. We've received reports of unlawful detention and psychological abuse. Please cooperate with our investigation. Wendy screamed, rushing over. How dare you touch my son? Jack didn't spare them a glance. He stayed focused on me, his voice low and clear. Clara, long time no see. I was a bit puzzled. We didn't seem to have met before, right? I nodded at him. John glared at me. You've been in on this with him all along? I let out a light chuckle at that and admitted it just to annoy him. You pushed me to it. Jack wrapped his arm around my shoulder. Thanks for divorcing her. John lost it, but the cops pinned him down. He held Clara. You'll regret this. Regret? I laughed softly. The only thing I regretted was running into you at that old warehouse. After leaving the venue, I pulled out my phone. The media had gone wild. Tags like scandal at the heir's wedding, rich family drama, and plot twist were trending. In the following days, John got investigated for alleged mental abuse and business fraud, and the White stock nosedived. Mike came looking for Jack several times in their crisis, but left disappointed every time. I felt light as a feather and asked Jack curiously, we haven't really met before, right? So why did you say long time no see that last time? Just to mess with John? Jack leaned forward, staring at me. The closer I looked, the more familiar he seemed. He suddenly dropped to one knee, leveling with my shoulder, and said carefully, Sis, I said I'd come back for you. The figure that had been on repeat in my mind overlapped with him right then, words stammering out of my mouth. You're Jack. Jack pulled me close around the waist. It's me, sis. I'm sorry I took so long to find you. At that moment of recognition, I started shaking uncontrollably. All I could see was being alone, bloody and hurt, at the orphanage door as Jack walked away without looking back. It was a scene from my recurring nightmares. I'd harbored resentment over him leaving, over broken promises. Chaos engulfed me as I faintly heard voices. Why is she trembling so much seeing me? Mr. Jack, based on Miss Clara's experiences and current symptoms, it's likely acute PTSD causing the blackout. Miss Clara witnessed her parents die in an accident as a child. She can't bear important people leaving her. The trauma may be compounded by blood at the scene, exacerbated later by drugging and memory loss. When I came to, my hand was gently held by a large, defined hand. The person beside me was asleep on the bedside, looking relaxed in casual homeware. His youthful features had sharpened into masculine edges with some maturity, but that little mole by his eye hadn't changed. I jolted my hand back, much like the night he had let go. Sis, it's me. Jack woke with a start. Don't call me that. My voice was raw and unfamiliar. We hadn't been siblings in ages. A shadow passed over Jack's face, but he forced composure. Sis, have you been like this all these years? I turned away, hiding my reddening eyes. None of your business. It is my business. Jack bowed his head in regret. If only you hadn't left me, I wouldn't be like this. I snapped, tears breaking free. Jack went pale, slowly rising. I thought he was leaving, but suddenly he knelt. I'm sorry. His forehead touched the bed's edge, shoulders trembling, voice fervent. I never meant to leave you. An orphanage discovered me by accident. I asked them to contact you, but they said you'd been adopted, happy, and didn't want past people disturbing you. Struggling to digest the bombshells in those few sentences. You and John? Jack grasped my quivering hand, his voice low. My mother left the family for my dad. After him cheating and my mom divorcing, she found out she was pregnant with me. She chose to have me but died the day I was born. Jack and John. No wonder they held a resemblance in youth. I worriedly asked. Won't they hassle you, given their prominence? Jack answered each question sincerely. My grandfather took me abroad shortly after I got home, and I never returned. They thrived on my mom's dowry. My grandfather's overseas empire could buy a dozen the whites. The brother I clung to for 10 years had become my ex-husband's half-brother, all the while a wealthy family's heir overseas. And my enlisted lawyer turned out to be a power player abroad. Sis, you're worried about me. But what about yourself when you sought revenge? I mumbled. Those with nothing have nothing to fear. Jack hesitantly asked. Sis, do you still love him? Love breeds hate. Or so I thought. I had mistaken familiarity with John for love. But as memory seeped back, found only disgust when I saw him. I must have been crazy and amnesic to fall for his guise. I couldn't confess that John's familiar face, mistakenly comforting, eased me into his deceit. I couldn't mention my fondness for the anonymous months-long companionship, nor could I look Jack in the eye. Jack went quiet for a while. Finally, I said, I want to go home. I went back to the orphanage. The headmistress beamed surprise. Clara, you're here. Years had passed since that naive scene of me dating John sold her, leading to my marriage. Granny, I'm recently divorced. I'll stay at the orphanage again. I gave her gifts and smiled at the kids, attempting to duck her pressing about my divorce by hiding in my room. The familiar surroundings soothed, and I slept soundly. When I woke up, it was broad daylight. I stretched lazily, and saw a familiar figure at the door. The kids surrounded Jack, who was carrying gifts with curiosity. Grandma Elsie returned from her walk and suddenly asked Jack, Are you Jack? Jack's eyes turned red. Back then Grandma, who ran the orphanage, loved me but cared for the small, not-so-social Jack the most. Grandma, I found my family. I was busy and couldn't come back for a few years, but from now on, I'll take on the funding responsibilities for the orphanage. The headmistress talked endlessly while holding our hands. Except for the kids who got adopted, the orphanage has kept a room for each child who grew up there. Jack looked at the small but cozy room. It was just like when he left. You should rest for the night. Tomorrow. I paused. Tomorrow you should go back. During the past 2 days with me, his phone kept beeping with messages and calls. Jack had many things to handle, and I didn't want to keep him occupied here. I returned to my room, but an hour later, there was an unexpected knock. I opened the door. Jack's voice was low and husky, like he was holding back something. Clara. He called me by my name, not sis. I need to talk to you. He barely whispered, but he was forceful as he pushed into my room. I instinctively stepped back, my back hitting the cold door. Jack had used my toiletries that night, and that familiar scent mixed with the remnants of alcohol in the air made my heart race. His gaze fell on the photo of us as kids. Jack never liked taking photos. This one was because I forced him to. It showed a cheerful me and a stone-faced him. You kept these. Didn't you hate me for leaving and not coming back for you? He lightly said as he touched the spot where my face was in the photo. The air felt heavy. I instinctively grabbed the frame, whispering, Hating you doesn't clash with missing you. Jack suddenly squatted down, sitting on the floor. He tugged at my shirt hem, looking up at me. Sis, don't make me leave, okay? Young Jack was small, often bullied. I used to rush to protect him, and he'd cling to my shirt, asking me not to leave him too far. Now, he had grown into a man, shedding his past naivety with sharpened facial features. I said haphazardly, I forgive you. Even if you're something now, as a sister, I can't protect you anymore. But if you accept me, I'll always be your sister. Jack's hand moved up, gripping my wrist that held the frame. Clara, there's something I must tell you. His tone, more assertive than before. You're drunk. Let's talk tomorrow. I stopped seeing you as a sister a long time ago. Jack's voice was low and firm. The frame slipped and shattered on the floor. Shocked, I stared at him, noticing his red eyes and messy hair. A gaze burning with emotions, not for a sister. I instinctively tried to push him away, but he clung tighter to my shirt hem, pulling me closer. What do you mean? My voice trembled. Jack spoke slowly. I mean, Clara, I like you. Sis, please, can we be together? That word sis sent shivers down my spine. He continued, if you give me a chance, I want to enter your life as a man, not a brother, like when I anonymously messaged you through your divorce process. Do you realize what you're saying? My voice found its way back, though still hoarse. We're siblings. I managed to say, I've been married and divorced, you're still young. Jack's breath hit my cheek. You're only a year older. And so what if you've been married? I'd help you leave him if you weren't happy. You're drunk, I repeated, trying to convince myself. Clara, do you know what it felt like to see your help post and recognize it was you? I nearly went crazy trying to trace your IP, review cafe footage, barely confirming it was you. I craved your updates, yet wished it wasn't you in such a state. Jack suddenly grabbed my hand, placing it over his heart. I could have stayed hidden, not intruding in your life, but I couldn't not see you, Clara. If years ago I was confused between affection and love, do you think I can't tell now? He pressed on, his heartbeat thudding under my palm. Every time I see you, my heart races like this. I wanted to push him away, then hug him. My heartbeat nearly matched his. We can't. Why not? Jack pressed closer. Because of what others think. Societal norms? If you prefer, no one needs to know our past relationship. His fingers wiped my tears. Or is it that you like me too but won't admit it? Those words cut through, exposing my carefully built defenses. Enough. I nearly screamed. Do you even know what you're saying? I'm sorry. Jack, seeing my fierce reaction, promised not to mention it again. His lonely silhouette as he left cracked my heart. Just before the door closed, he whispered, "Good night, sis." I sat shocked on the floor, staring into space. The clock showed 3 a.m., a sleepless night ahead. Memories of young Jack leaving, comforting anonymous texts, grown Jack calling me sis, while looking firmly at me all replayed. Quietly, I walked to Jack's door, hand raised but never knocking. Jack, I whispered to the closed door, words unsaid when the door suddenly opened. He stood there, eyes red from sleeplessness. What were you about to say? He asked, voice raspy. I looked at Jack, a boy I practically raised like my own brother, and it suddenly hit me. I could no longer lie to myself. I stood on tiptoe and gently kissed the corner of his mouth while he stared at me in shock. I must be crazy. His shocked expression turned into disbelief, and then into pure joy. Is this okay? He whispered, his breath warm against my lips. I closed my eyes and nodded lightly. When Jack finally kissed me again, I felt a strange release, like years of chains finally breaking free. The kiss was gentle and restrained, yet it made me tremble all over. When we pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine and softly said, I'm not asking for anything. Just knowing you understand me is enough. I need some time, I whispered. Jack nodded, gently stroking my hair. I'll wait as long as you need. The next morning, Jack went back overseas. Before leaving, he kissed my cheek right in front of Grandma, the director of the orphanage. I blushed and pushed him to go. Grandma chuckled as she teased me, so our fearless Clara can get shy, huh? Seeing my confusion, she added, I noticed years ago how this boy looks at you. You were just too clueless, always treating him like a kid. I ran off, face in my hands, back to my room to start my live stream. Jack had gone with me to see a therapist. He said I was under way too much mental stress, and suggested I take a year off if possible. Now I've left that part of my life. I'm planning to become a cooking blogger online, at least not just lazing around living off the orphanage. The place needed a life skills teacher, so I stepped up to fill in. With the kids' permission, I sometimes stream using big-headed filters to share their lives. The kids learned some pretty cute things. They'd ask, teacher, why don't you show your face? It's so hot now. After class, I'd read some of the live stream comments and sometimes reply. They're all such sweet kids. One even came crying to me because a little flower got accidentally broken, and she thought she'd lost a friend. Turns out, they were holding hands playing hide and seek by dinner time. Even though my stream doesn't have a huge following, people are generally nice. Sometimes the kids would jump on screen to share their own funny stories. The chat is always full of joy. One day, I started my live stream like usual, but my phone, which I've used for years, froze right away. What's going on? I mumbled, my heart racing. Next thing I knew, the screen was flooded with angry comments. You dare to stream still? Homewrecker. Go to hell, third party. The numbers of viewers skyrocketed, quickly surpassing 5,000. Is there some misunderstanding? I frowned, not understanding what just happened. The comments exploded with even more intensity, making it hard to make out anything on screen. A flashy VIP comment floated by. Go check Lily's latest Facebook post, proof this girl is a snake. Lily, what's she up to? Or is it John's doing again? I glanced at the screen. The comments had devolved into attacking my appearance, body, even my family. Someone exposed my real name and address. And when I saw people threatening to reveal the orphanage's address, I couldn't stand it. I tried to stay calm, not attempting any public defense, and prepared to end the stream. Sorry guys, today's stream is out of order. Catch you tomorrow. In such a heated environment, saying more just meant more mistakes. I then shut down all the comment sections on social platforms temporarily to prevent the situation from worsening. As I was organizing my documents to consult a lawyer, Jack called. He sounded anxious. Clara, I was in a meeting and just heard about this. Are you okay? I knew he was worried about my mental health. Didn't you see the stream? Relax, I've heard these things since high school. They can't hurt me. Jack's voice was low. You handled everything well. I'm on my way back. I'll be there soon. Not long after, someone knocked on my door. But it was John. He was holding a bouquet, with his suit soaked by rain, looking somewhat pathetic. What's up? I didn't budge from the doorway, my voice steady. His greedy eyes swept over my face. Can I come in? It's pouring out here. He suddenly moved closer. Clara, I know you hate me. I don't hate you, I said with a humorless laugh. Hate takes too much feeling, and I'm out of that for you. John's face twisted for a moment. I've regretted every day. My marriage with Lily was arranged by our families. I had no say. John suddenly dropped to his knees. Clara, I'm sorry. I'll stop her and get her to apologize. Give me another chance. Ask Jack to spare my family. I laughed coldly and showed him Lily's latest Facebook post. I don't remember ever stopping you too. I gave you a chance. Weren't you the one claiming she was your true love? Take care of your heart and your wife. John gradually stood up, the evident selfish weakness becoming visible despite his attempts to hide it. He tried to hug me, but I forcefully pushed him and his flowers out. Jack showed up with a lawyer, saw John getting handsy, and punched him a few times in frustration. You think she believed you knew her when she lost her memory? Because she lived with me for 10 years. Jack got his security to send John home. It's just because you look a little like me. John left looking defeated, stumbling away. I handed over the afternoon's recordings to the lawyer. After reviewing the evidence, he advised us, I suggest staying silent for 24 hours. Wait for Lily's side to show more weaknesses, and monitor which influencers are jumping on this bandwagon. Trace their influence path. Jack, there's been a new development. Since Clara's info got leaked, people are talking about you taking Clara away during the wedding, suspecting she's with someone new. The whole internet's digging into your details, and the company's stock is fluctuating. Jack said he understood, and asked the lawyer to go figure out a solution. I wasn't too worried about myself. Won't this damage your reputation though? Could it put the company in danger? Jack seemed to appreciate I was concerned about him. He said it wasn't a big deal, and this whole thing wasn't just a straightforward case of a wife confronting a mistress. The lawyer asked me to gather all my chat logs, transfer records, and photo timestamps with John. Jack pretended not to care, but peeked at them several times. He gave me a wistful look. You guys have so many memories together. His jealousy was so obvious. I thought for a moment, then kissed him on the chin to tease him. People aren't wrong. Haven't I just climbed a better branch? He leaned over me on the sofa, planting a gentle kiss on my brow. You're the branch I've wanted to reach my whole life. You have no idea. When I first saw you, you were like this little sun coming down from the sky to save me. Back when John showed up with photos of us, saying we'd been together for a year, I didn't really buy it until I looked into his eyes. Jack looked at me, knowing that he and John shared the same kind of eyes. I felt a bit awkward, sorry. And then Jack kissed me, not the gentle, tentative way he did before. It was urgent and longing. He kissed away my tears at the corner of my eyes. Clara, I love you. I ran my fingers through his hair, like I was petting a cat, and squinted comfortably. He was getting all fired up from my touch, and glared at me, before storming off to his room for a shower. I couldn't help but laugh. His physique got me wondering, how did this guy, who was a bit doughy years ago, get into such shape? Jack explained what he's been up to. I've looked into their companies. They've been breaking the law for years. I've gathered a lot of evidence and plan to act soon. They tried dragging you into this to pull me down. Honestly, it's me who's gotten you involved. I didn't want him to continue and silenced him with a kiss. The next day, my detailed clarification post went viral, thanks to a skilled lawyer. The article clearly showed with timelines that Lily was the third party, and included email screenshots where the conglomerate pressured platforms to blacklist me. 48 hours later, the Whites Group got hit with a securities investigation and started trending. Jack teamed up with partners both companies had tried to crush, and, using policy checks and public opinion, brought their looming crisis into the open. Eventually, the two companies were busted for tax evasion and shut down. Their profits had been moved to offshore shell companies, leading to their market value crashing. The two families turned against each other. Jack watched it all unfold, then swooped in to buy up their core assets at a bargain, utterly crippling their business empire. John and Lily divorced, and John went looking for me at the orphanage, only to find it empty, breaking down in tears at the steps. Jack took me back to his grandpa's place and broke the news over dinner. I shot him a glance when Grandpa wasn't looking. Jack stifled a laugh, clearing his throat when I glared. Jack's grandpa was super warm to me. Clara, don't mind that brat. No one knows a grandson like his grandpa does. He's just jealous and trying to get noticed. Jack blushed at being called out by his grandpa. Grandpa and I exchanged looks and couldn't help but tease him. Grandpa followed my live streams often. Those kids at your orphanage are so adorable. And you handled those rumors last time like a champ, Clara. You're amazing. By the way, when are you two getting married? This time, it was my turn to blush. I had never really thought about it. Jack's grandpa glanced Jack's way. That goof asked me to find you back then. He was a mess when he heard you were dating, nearly dying of a broken heart. And look at him now, still such a chicken, hasn't inherited my mojo for winning over your grandma. Jack dragged me outside, both of us red-faced, escaping to the garden from Grandpa's relentless chatter. Jack poked fun at the fact his grandpa hadn't let go of issues from his mother's time, but he was pleased about the downfall. I walked with him along the rehab path he used to take, and Jack told me, Clara, you don't have to think about it too hard. Whether we get married or have kids, it's all up to you. If you don't want it, no one can force you. I'll always have your back. Jack requested his grandpa to stay on longer at the company, using his not fully recovered health as the reason to quit, and he accompanied me to explore many places. Once I caught him sneaking around preparing for a fireworks show. I chuckled, suggesting he shouldn't pull stunts like that in public since his presence already drew enough attention. We laid on the grass, gazing at the Milky Way, climbed snowy peaks to watch the sunrise, and chased sunsets in the desert. At the shore, Jack and I released a sky lantern. I'd heard if you write your wish on a lantern, the higher it flies, the likelier it is to come true. He whispered, handing the lantern to me. He gingerly wrote a few words. I leaned in but pretended not to peek, asking with a grin, "What did you write?" "If I tell, it won't come true," he teased back. Our fingers entwined, holding the lantern together. The warm light danced on our faces, and this time, I truly saw him. A sudden sea breeze jolted the lantern from our grasp, sending it soaring skyward. It drifted higher and higher, becoming just a dot of light in the vast sky. I instinctively reached for it, only to grab his warm hand. As the sun set beneath the horizon, we kissed at the meeting point of sea and sky. "What was your wish?" I asked. "I wish us many bright years ahead, inked by our tales." The end.